there, I'm going to be completely honest with you. I'm being completely front with you. Once we get out of the bonds, we go into nomenclature. And nomenclature is where everybody fails.
I've already been there, done that. This is the part where the roller coaster goes straight down.
No, this is the part where the roller coaster keeps going, but there's no tracks. Like, you don't know where it's going.
Sorry, students need to report to the auditorium. Wyatt Austin, Christian Purdue, Madison Wells, Paige Hatfield,
That's driving me nuts today.
Darian Curtis, Megan Justice.
So in this, I'm openly telling you, when we make it there, life gets difficult. And it's one of those things that you have to learn.
Alexis Fletcher, Maddie Lesher, Nelson Morris, Larry Lowry, Andrew Williams.
I don't know. What happened to it? I guess it
Samantha Bailey,
on the way a little bit or something.
There's an option.
Sarah Holt, Seth
I don't
Hudson,
stop.
Alex Edwards, Patrick Jackson, Tony Justice,
So,
Ivan Canada, Cameron Taylor, Jason Syfor, Priscilla Mullins, Chad Ray, Jordan Morgan, Brayden Roberts, Trey Klein, Haley Thompson,
so in this,
Bowers, Nathaniel Vance, Ethan Lodgen, Dylan Dixon, Colton West, Blake Good, Holly Lilly, Hannah Lyons, and Jordan Miller. Report to auditorium.
okay, so in this, I'm openly telling you, when we make it to nomenclature, this will absolutely be the hardest class you've ever had. There's not even a close call. Because from nomenclature, we build on top of everything. And nomenclature starts linking us back into, you remember when I told you the mode concept, you better not forget it. And if you haven't mastered it, you better master it. If you don't know it, you need to come see me. You remember us having that conversation? That's when the moles come back. And that's when it bites you in the butt hardcore. So if you haven't got that mastered, you need to come ask me. You need to come speak with me. We need to have conversations with this. Besides that, I've only had a handful of people come and ask me questions during lunch. And I'm also going to say this. I love you all dearly, but if you're going to come to me the day of the quiz and take 30 minutes of your lunch and expect to learn everything that I've taught you for 2 weeks, and everything from this class that you've learned, good luck. Because the truth of it is, if you can come during one lunch period and learn everything, I clearly am not doing my job. And I'm meaning this with love. You guys can do this. This is difficult. This is hard. You're going to experience failing in this class. Some of you experience failing for the first time. It doesn't mean you're stupid. It doesn't mean you're a failure at life. It doesn't mean you cannot be what you want to be in your life. It means you're on the track to be what you want to be.
You know, you say all this, but I still don't feel no different.
And we get that quiz and we're like,
But with it, you're learning. Like today is one of my favorite days. I get to talk about one of my most favorite things in the world to talk about. It's so much fun. Huh?
failing the quiz.
Why is it?
If I don't pass this class, I don't get my diploma. And I need my diploma.
Study hard.
Why is it that whenever we all get a test in here, we all automatically panic and fail?
Because this is the hardest thing that you've done before, just being honest with you, so then all of you want to freak out. That's the thing. It's like, if there's anything I can tell you, when a quiz hits your desk, you need to calm down. Have I ever asked a question on the quiz that I have not taught you in class? Let me inform you, the answer to that is no. There's videos out there proving it. That's one of my favorite things about doing the videos, is when parents want to look at me and say, you did not teach this. Actually, I did, and I can prove it. If you have questions, you need to come and see me. If you have questions, you need to ask me. And that's the thing that got me really frustrated when grading these quizzes, is because watching you all do mathematical expressions that I never went over and I never did, and I kept asking you, do you have a question? 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 And finally we reached to the point I did like 6 problems and nobody had a question. And at that moment I look and say, yes, they've got it, I can move on. Then I grade the quiz and I go, They literally just wrote down what I wrote down and listened to nothing I said
When can we see our quizzes?
once everybody takes them. Now, there is people in the room that absolutely, there's some people in the room that did not do bad at all. I will say I had one A, a single A from both classes. Was not in here.
It wasn't in here?
Was not in here. And surprisingly, the average in this class was lower. But I think the average in this class was lower because we had more people that had missed for the trunk or treat and wasn't here to take the quiz. So those are sitting in the zeros right now. If you guys have questions though, if your parents have questions, tell them to contact me. Guys, I'm not mean. I'm not. I'm honest. This is the hardest class you've ever had. And it's not because of me, it's because of the subject. So if you have questions about it, we need to have a conversation. Are you going to be okay? Yes, you're going to be okay. Does that mean you're going to get an A? No, that does not mean you're going to get an A. Does not mean you're going to get a B. Does not mean you're going to get a C. It means you learn. And that's what I care about. I care less if everybody in this room walks out here with an A, because I'm just going to throw it out there and say it, and people can go home and tell everybody that I said this. Truth of it is people walked out of this room for 4.5 years getting an A. No, let's say 5.5, because my first year was bad too. For 5.5 years, they walked out of this classroom with an A, went to college and didn't know nothing about chemistry. And I've had kids that have walked out of here with C's that are going to college and they're breezing. I would much rather you go to college, you leave my classroom with a C, go to college, breeze through it, get an A, tutor everybody in the room, and you look like a genius, than you walk out of here with an A and everyone look and say, oh, my child, they're so smart. You are smart. The fact that you're in this class says that. You took on the challenge.
That just makes me dumb a lot of times, though.
Because it's pushing you in things that you've never done before. You guys should not feel dumb. You should feel good about yourselves, okay? Do not think that the hope is over. Also with this, guys, remember, this is kind of a progress report. This report card is not your finalized grade. I'm not one of those teachers that takes the first 9 weeks and the second 9 weeks and averages that together. That's stupid. It just keeps going through for me.
These don't go in our transcripts, do they?
No, what will go on your transcript is at the end of the second 9 weeks and the end of the year. Okay? So you still got a whole 9 weeks to build this thing up. And you got a lot of points coming up that can build it up.
Hand drawing.
I don't know. I'm probably just going to do the one this year and leave it at that. And lab reports are not going in, because honestly, if the lab reports went in as a grade, I honestly got shocked. I had one person so far, I've graded 3 of them, and I've got one person that's got a 32 out of 60, and it kind of shocked me. I was like, yeah, they did pretty good for first submission. Not bad.
Is it in this class?
No.
Have you graded our lab reports yet? Like all of them?
No, I ain't even close. And I'm not putting those in, because the truth of it is, just to be honest with you, if I put those lab reports in, guys, the truth of it is it's going to happen. Is we're going to watch every grade in both classes just plummet.
Don't expect good things.
I don't. I mean, it's your first time ever doing it. I'm not expecting you guys to come out with an A on this thing. I'm expecting an effort, though. I'm not mad. I really ain't. I'm happy you guys are here.
The only thing that's honestly missing in this that took my grade down from a B to a D is the so at least
All right. What do you guys have this Friday?
A lab.
A lab. A lab. You got a lab. Okay? I think I'm going to put the one that I should do this week on the back burner and wait for a later date to really push it, because it's very challenging and in-depth.
We can handle it.
I think we just proved it.
You're doing it at a later date because it serves a purpose to bring something back to your memory at that time. And I think this Friday we're going to do something that's really fun. It's one of my favorite labs to do. With this, ladies, it requires the hair to be put up in a ponytail. you will be using Bunsen burners on Friday. I will teach you the proper technique of how to light a Bunsen burner, which means there's going to be fire, which, ladies, also means I suggest not using hairspray. Just throwing that out there. Okay? Just being considerate of it, okay? Also stressing this, we are recording second period. Some people said some stuff, we can't use that video, so it's gone. So we already need this video, so if y'all ruin it, oh well. So I left y'all with this idea. Now, I will openly look at you and tell you, I left you with this idea, and I told you something that is not entirely accurate. Okay, and I did it because of the short amount of time that we had and stuff had to get covered. So in this, we talked about energy levels. And so in this, I gave you a diagram with these 3 energy levels. And I did 3 for a reason. There's 7.
Olivia Akers, Dakota Atkins, Cameron Hatfield, Leslie Evans, Michael Mackenzie Bledsoe, Adriana Brown, David Burgess III, Alexander Jordan, Brian Kennedy, Megan Hurley, Megan Baldwin, Dave Calusi, Dakota Brown, Alex Browning, Stephanie Lafferty, Ethan Lester, Cameron Lester, Cassidy Levin, Dakota Roberts, Destiny Smart, Lindsay Smith, Austin Browning, Jayla West, Keith Martin, Logan Morgan, Dalton Mullins, Mark Coughlin, Stephen Miles, Dylan Stimson, Ronald Toller, Michael Newsom, Dakota Mitchell, Gavin Morgan, and Alton Mills. Report to the auditorium.
Alright, so in this, I left you with this idea here, and I told you something that was not entirely accurate whenever I told you about the energy levels within here. I told you these energy levels, and I told you in terms of joules. That's not entirely accurate. There's something that we use. Now I'm going to choose values for these that don't exactly stick per se, but they're roughly close. So let's say, for example, okay, and hold your horses before you freak out on me. All right, everybody just chill. First energy level, let's say that's about 2.5 electron volts. Second energy level about 3.2 electron volts, and third energy level, let's do 3.5 electron volts. Okay? Now I know what you're thinking. What's an electron volt? And that's fine. Don't you freak out about it. I got you. Alright? So in this, you have the electron volt. Abbreviated with a little e and a capital V. There is an identity behind this, okay? It's kind of like, you know, how we use the mole inversely. So we use these numbers because that scientists really don't want to have to deal with these super long scientific numbers and terms. So they came up with this electron volt. And the electron volt is equal to 1.602 177 times 10 to negative, I want to say it's 19 joules.
Is that 1 electron volt? Or
This is 1 electron volt. I will be completely honest with you, I do not expect you to memorize that number. In any terms where you need that number, I will give it to you. So you don't need to memorize it. Alright? But when we left off with this idea, we left off with it, and we were talking about it, and we were talking about it in terms of electrons. So I have these energy levels, and what is found in those energy levels? I'm actually asking the question that I was hoping you
Positive waves.
knew. No.
you're getting
What
different
type of
electrons.
particle?
Subatomic.
What subatomic particle?
Photon. With an S.
Plural. Positive ones.
Nope, those are protons, those are in the nucleus. Electrons. Electrons! So we find electrons out here. let's say right here, I have this lovely electron just chilling there, just hanging out. Relaxing and shooting some big ball outside of school.
Yeah, Mr. Hall.
So in this, there's this electron. Now add this, take the information that you can from it. How much energy does that electron have?
2.5 electron volts.
So this electron has 2.5 electron volts. How do you know that? Because it's in this energy level, and in this energy level it says 2.5 electron volts. It's the first level of the salty spittoon. Let me preference this to make sure I'm clear with this. This is not the salty spittoon, okay? The salty spittoon is something off SpongeBob, and I'm using it so you have an understanding of what this energy level is referring to. He can be in there because he can open the bottle of ketchup. That is not why he can be in there, though. He can be in there because he has 2.5 electron volts worth of energy.
But he can open the ketchup.
Okay? Now, in this, if he wants to get to the second energy level, if this electron somehow got 3.19999 repeating electron volts, can he go to the second energy level? No, why? Because he has to be at the 3.2 or he needs that 0.1 more. Or 0.01 more. If proves, okay? So in this, he can't get to that second energy level. Now in this is the interesting thing that can take place. If something happened, and let's say our lovely electron right there somehow got a total of 3.2 electron volts. Where's our electron?
It's in
the second energy level. So within this, he popped up there. Pop. Let me preference this with whenever I said pop, the electrons don't pop up there. They go to another energy level. Like I have to be literal today. So it goes up to this second energy level.
So is that one still there, or did it move?
It moved. What I'm doing is I'm showing you like a big scheme of thing over here, and then over there I'm going to like break it down. Now within this, that electron's typically not there in the second energy level. Where's that electron typically found?
In the first energy level.
In the first energy level. So in that case, where does that electron want to be?
The first energy level.
In the first energy level. So that electron will find its way back to this first energy level. But to do this, in order for it to be able to make this, remember, what's the energy here?
3.2.
3.2 electron volts. What was the energy here? 2.5 electron volts. Okay, so it gained energy to go here. When it goes from here to here, what's the energy at this position where my index finger is right now? 2.5 electron volts. So what does that mean in terms from here to there?
It decreased. It died.
What decreased?
Energy level.
Energy. So going from the first energy level to the second energy level, it gained energy. Going from the second energy level to the first energy level, it lost energy. Now this is the key in this. Law of conservation of energy states energy cannot be created nor destroyed. It can only be transferred. So in this energy is being picked up from something and it's being transferred into something. Bless you. Alright? We have terms for these states though. Alright? So over here on the right, we're going to make two of these diagrams. We're going to write a little bit around them and stuff. Sound effects make it better.
Why is that one bigger?
Because I'm not an art teacher. That's why, Christy. Get Gina in here. Go right ahead. She'll say it's ridiculous. You can install a printer, but you can't draw something the same.
It looks like a chameleon on.
Huh?
It looks like a chameleon.
That's cool.
What is y'all
Yeah, dog and mouth. And
Just like a straight line.
Are they supposed to be equal or one a little bit?
They're supposed to be.
Yes.
Like that.
It's supposed to be, ideally, we're talking about the same atom. You don't have to put the line there.
Angle.
Yeah,
It's like-
kind of need to.
Yeah.
There you go.
Pascal. Pascal.
Yes.
I should do this in green.
Alright, so in this, okay, sticking with everything being the same, you got the first energy level, second energy level, third energy level. And within these, we're going to keep everything the same just so we can have simplicity. Keep everything simple. Easy for me to say. So we got 2.5 electron volts, 3.2 electron volts, and 3.5 electron volts. Oh man, man. Alright, so everything's the same in here. Okay, so now this is what we're looking at. So we're starting with the first case here. So we got this electron just hanging out. Just chilling. Right where it's supposed to be. Alright? The term for this, we like to call the ground state. Ground state is simply electron where it normally is. And then in this, something takes place, okay? And you've seen this before. You've seen this constantly. You just have no idea that it was happening. This electron, blue, pink, teal, and green. Out of nowhere, this is what the ground state is, but out of nowhere something can happen. This electron can go up to that second energy level. Now here's the key to this. What's the amount of energy for that electron in the first energy level?
2.5.
2.5. What is here in the second energy level? 3.2. So it's jumped up to a higher energy level. Whenever that's took place, it's took us over here. Now this is the thing. This electron can jump up. If this electron had an energy of 3.2 electron volts, where does it go?
on the second circle?
On the second energy level. If something happened and it had 3.5 electron volts, where does it go? The third energy level. It can go from the first energy level to the third. It can go from the first to the fourth. It can go all the way from the first to the seventh. It all depends on the energy. And this is what matters with it. How does this randomly happen? So I'm going to put this back at 3.2.
Can I take a random guess?
Take a shot.
Is it another electron probably hits it, transferring the energy?
No. Good guess though. So now this electron's in that second energy level. Now this right here is what we call the excited state. Just think about it. You got some energy, man. This everything's got excited. Yeah. No? Okay. So you have the excited state. Alright, and this is when electrons enter higher energy levels. So that's when an excited state is when electrons enter higher energy levels. So now in this is what also can happen. That electron's not normally there. It wants to get back to where it normally is. So that electron can fly back, man. Drop back down to that energy level.
Is it just little electrons moving back and forth?
No, I'm about to explain to you behind why and what this happened. It's okay to be confused right now. That's okay. So in this, I don't know where that electron goes back down, but here's the important part. What's the energy of that electron here?
3.2.
3.2 electron volts. But if it wants to come back here, what's the energy got to be? 2.5 electron volts. So the energy has to come out in some way or fashion.
Is it split?
Does not split, but good guess.
It just runs
I
out.
like the way y'all are thinking. You know, y'all are thinking like young Albert Einstein's like, let's blow something up, man.
Is it kind of like a battery? Because it looks
No.
like it. And you like charge it and it goes up and then it dies and it goes down.
No, but it's like, with that, you're talking about like electricity and stuff, and that's the flow of
Batteries have
electrons.
little plus.
Deals with electrons with a different aspect.
Is it
This is what happens. You guys have learned about this. Something has to give it enough energy to go from here to there. What's a form of energy you guys randomly just learned about? Okay, but more importantly,
3.2.
okay, what is an electron? A subatomic particle. So what is a particle of energy you just learned about?
Light.
It has no mass, just a quantum of energy. Photon! So photons come in
If
and
there's
hit
anyone
the...
in the building who has not taken a picture for the yearbook and would like to, report to the auditorium now.
So in this, these photons will come in, they excite these electrons up to higher energy levels. Whenever this happens, these electrons jump to the higher energy level. So the energy's been contained. But then you come over here where it's in the excited state and it's like, yo man, no, I don't like it here, I gotta go back. But it can't freely just go back. It has to lose energy. But you can't destroy it, so it has to be transferred out. So what's a nice way for energy to be transferred out?
Heat.
Photon! Energy, baby. Energy. Smiley face. Just for the fun of it. So in this, what happens is this photon pops out. Have you ever wondered how come you can see color?
No.
Yeah.
I've wondered it.
This is the whole premise behind what's happening. You ever been in a pitch black room? Do you see anything?
Yeah, if your eyes adjust.
Pitch black. No light whatsoever.
You start seeing
No.
those little like things
No
not
particles.
real.
Just like
Yeah, you can have a little bit of light. But within that, what will take place? In this is the whole premise of what's happening. What did you learn light is?
Particle. Both waves and particles.
Both waves and particle, what is a form of electromagnetic radiation, and electromagnetic radiation has energy, so that energy can be transferred out within photons. These photons can pop within these atoms, excite electrons from the ground state to the excited state. Those electrons are like, yo dude, not happy about this, I want out, I want to go back home. It pops from the excited state, goes back to the ground state, but releases off a photon of energy. And that photon of energy, if it falls between
Electrons and photons are
400 nanometers
they want to be here with you until we graduate, and then we're even more.
or 750 nanometers, you see light and color.
That what we're taking now is the 2400.
What?
Just because that is the visible light spectrum. So like cases that you're looking at. So, all right, looking at, you got Miss Massey, hot. You got her shirt, yellow, right? I'm gonna call it yellow. All you girls can yell at me later that I called it the wrong color. Riley, yellow. You got yellow. Whatever, I don't care. It's yellow. I'm a man. Who cares? Okay? Like all of you four sitting right there wearing pink. Now every one of y'all are going to look at me and say, that's not pink.
How's this pink?
That's a dark pink. I don't know.
No.
Whatever, who cares? It's a color.
I get you this call.
All right, thank you. So in this, we get yellow. What's happening is we have the light is coming down, hitting their shirts. Once it hits the shirts, it excites the electrons up. The electrons come back down to the ground state. When they come back to the ground state, the photons get released. Those photons have a certain frequency and wavelength that corresponds with yellow light from the visible light spectrum. Those photons fire back at our eyes. The molecules within your eyes that are there, the photon bonds to it. It makes the protein shift and change. Once it changes, it sends a signal to the rods and cones and says, hey, yo, rods and cones, we're seeing color, man. And they're like, hey, yo, what color are we seeing? And they're like, we're seeing yellow, man. They're like, oh, those shirts are yellow. Thus you see yellows. It's happened super fast because what's the speed of light? 2.98 times 10 to the 8 meters per second. That is the fastest thing in the universe. Nothing can exceed the speed of light. Now in this is the thing I'm going to openly tell you. This right here is pretty much wrapping us up with this little stuff. Tomorrow I'm going to show you a couple cool stuff. I got a demonstration we didn't get to today. Got a demonstration I'm going to show you in the back. After the demonstration, we're going to talk a little bit about that demonstration, how we use it within science, and then we're going to break outside of that. And we're going to break into figuring out puzzles. Okay, there's something that you guys are going to love because it's literally a puzzle. Once you figure the puzzle out, you're going to love to keep doing it. Okay? Love you all. Have a great, wonderful day. Go to class.